It's about time for us to take our parenting segment today. I always look forward to conversations like this because it's just such a journey and every parent needs guidance, advice, or someone to have a conversation with on issues like this. Now we have with us Aderonke Faseru. She's a seasoned professional dedicated to empowering individuals to become exceptional leaders. And she's honed her expertise in soft skills development like etiquette, emotional intelligence, and of course, leadership. Now, she's the author of 2 influential books, The Leader in You and Poised for Beginners, and they reflect her passion for guiding individuals towards their true leadership potential. Today on Parenting, let's discuss how parents can raise assertive children. Welcome back, Aderonke.
Thank you so much, Titi. Good to be here again.
Now, our conversation last week was really interesting.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a follow-up to it.
Okay.
The word assertive is not a word that many people might be too familiar with.
Okay.
Or maybe they don't really use it as much as is necessary.
Okay.
What's the difference between being assertive and being confident, for instance?
Okay, thank you, Titi. One more time. Good morning, Nigeria. I think you just used the synonym.
Oh, okay.
When you're assertive, you are confident. But I like to define it in a different way.
Okay.
So if, with your permission, I like to say when you talk about assertiveness, it's somewhere in between being aggressive or being passive. Oh. And being assertive means being firm. It's firm like when you're aggressive, but this time, the difference is the approach. When you're assertive, there's a huge twist of politeness when communicating. You don't want to hurt other people's feelings, or you want to affirm your point, but do it in a way that you will be accepted. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about when my kids have a conversation with me I'm not too comfortable having with a child, for instance. But I appreciate the fact that they're confident enough to start the conversation. For instance, maybe they broke a mug or something in the kitchen. And I'm thinking, you know, they're actually approaching me with the fact that the mug is broken. There was a time that if you break a mug, man, you go and hide it. So is this what you mean by being assertive? They can actually approach me and say, oh, mommy, I broke this mug. Is that what you're talking about?
Not exactly.
Okay.
But what you just described means being confident. But what I would rather say is, if you break a mug now and you want to, you know you'll be beaten. The way you present it will determine if you are assertive or if you are passive. Okay. I mean, you've done something wrong. So owning up to your responsibility, taking time to express yourself, understanding that that mug cost something.
Yes.
Okay. And also understanding that you have to face your the consequences of what you've done. Okay. Yeah, so you chest it and then express yourself in a very confident way and in a very polite way. So I would say being assertive, one more time, is very different from being passive because we do not think, you know, the normal Yoruba parent will say, when they beat you, hit yours back.
Okay.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe parents just believe that's a way of helping their children stand up to bullies. But we have seen that it's possible to assert your point without going physical. It's possible to assert your point without sounding offensive. Okay. Being confident would help you to say what you're saying, but bearing in mind that you don't have to hurt somebody else's feeling just because you want to pass a point. Okay,
so hurting someone else's feelings is like, okay, me, I'm mommy, I expect respect from you. In Yoruba, they would say, "Oh my liar," or she could even tell me that she broke the cup. She wasn't even afraid, you know. So the topic is how to raise assertive children. Right. So are you sure I want my children to be that assertive?
Okay, so let me take it from the beginning. We can't talk about assertiveness without drawing a clear distinction between self-esteem and self-confidence. Okay. Now, self-esteem is when you train your children to have value in themselves, not in your material possessions. Okay. So my father has 5 cars, and we own a house in so part of Lagos or so part of Nigeria. You know, all of those things do not define esteem. Okay. I'll tell you what they're about. Now, number 2 is self-confidence. So self-confidence is having strength in your abilities. So you might have an experienced athlete, you might have an experienced musician who is confident in her skills, but has a low self-esteem. Okay. Now, assertiveness comes when you raise your children to feel comfortable in their own skin, expressing themselves, and understanding that no is a statement. No is an opinion. I heard the little argument between you and Mazino when you were saying no earlier on. Yes, yes. I mean, no is a statement. It's okay. You need to be comfortable with a no. In fact, it's okay when, you know, this thing children do. When you go to a friend's house and they offer you food and you don't want to eat, you hear some children say, my mommy has told me not to eat, meaning just get off my back. But an assertive child will just say no. And when you say why, you say no, because I probably had something at home or I'm not hungry. I don't need to give you any further details.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All
very
right.
comfortable.
So now let's talk about being assertive, let's say, in the school environment. A lot of teachers have developed a sort of system where, you know, they give instructions to children and they're supposed to take it ho-ha, everything, hook, line, and sinker. But guess what? If a teacher is pointing to an animal that lives in the sea and points to it and says fish, and a child also points to it and says, no, that's not a fish, is that child being rude, correcting the teacher, or is the child being assertive once the child realizes that that aquatic animal is actually a dolphin?
Okay, thank you for that brilliant one. I think most teachers get into these issues because, number one, some teachers are not even assertive. Some parents are not even assertive, so they don't understand what it means to be assertive. However, if a child wants to correct an adult, the mannerism, the approach is very, very important. So if you say to your teacher, excuse me, I am not sure this is, but can we check on Google? Or hello, ma'am. I've seen this somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it's so, but I could be wrong. Can we check? Some children just get up and say, Mrs. A, what you said is wrong. And Mrs. A forgets what she said I was wrong and faces the act. No, not even the child. The act and the manner in which the child raised it. So assertiveness is saying the same thing a passive person will avoid. Saying the same thing an aggressive person will come at you saying, but saying it in a very polite way.
The child was right. That animal was a dolphin.
So if the teacher is not assertive, and you have a system that checks on teachers, that teacher will have to be corrected. But even if the child is right, the way the child presents it will determine if that child will be supported or if you'll be asked to just sit down.
All right. So this is a very deep conversation, and I believe a lot of parents have to maybe do a sit down and discover how assertive or not their child is before even going forward with the conversation, because there are some kids that will be like, you know what, no, Miss whatever her name is or whatever his name is, that is a mammal. Dolphins give birth to their young. They don't lay eggs. It's not a fish. Being assertive is such a very fine line, and I think as parents we need to get that right first.
First, before the children.
I have to say thank you so much for coming to have this conversation, and we would love to hear your thoughts on this as well. Use our hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC. Tag us #WakeUpNigeria TVCE, and we can't wait to see your thoughts on this issue. Raising assertive children. We have a quick break coming your way and still so much more on Wake Up Nigeria.